think you look back when you're 85 and you think, why didn't I do it? Like, why didn't I just get over myself and just start? A friend of mine recently acquired a business and had to go through a whole renovation, changing out the team, changing out the systems. And honestly, I think it's been a lot harder than he expected. What I keep telling him is to get in the game. Like, he is in the game. What they say about people that are in their hundreds, when you turn 100, right? They've interviewed people that are over 100 and they ask them about their life. And what they always say is that you don't regret what you did, you regret what you didn't do. Like, even if you had a colossal failure, you don't regret that. It's you actually look back on it and go, whoa, that was so crazy that we did that. Even if it didn't work, it's the not taking the leap. It's the not taking the jump. That is the thing that hurts the most. And I got to tell you, as a 46-year-old guy, there are several opportunities that I look back on and I think, oh, like I could have just done it. I could have just gone all in. How many started and ended podcasts do I have? How many started and ended YouTube channels? How many new ideas for websites or courses or webinars that I only did once or twice and then said, you know what? It's not worth it. So what I want to do in this training is encourage you to change your math, Instead of choosing to evaluate on a daily basis, a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly, and annual basis, I want you to project and go back from your future. Go to the future when you're 85 years old. The average life expectancy in America for a male is 78. Okay. So you lived a little longer than you're supposed to, which is awesome. You're now 7 years extra, which is great. Or you're a female watching this, and of course, you're going to live longer anyway. So 85 years old, right? And you're looking back on your life and you're saying, whoa, way back in the 2020s, I had an opportunity to post content online for free. I didn't get paid for it and I didn't have to pay for it. But I had this device in my pocket. We used to call it a phone. And it had a camera and it had a way to record and a way to upload. And I had all this wisdom to share, this wisdom about being a mom, this wisdom about working in my career, this wisdom about parenting, this wisdom about faith. And you know what I did? I hid my light. I didn't let my light shine. Instead, I just kept it to myself. And, I got a lot of reasons for that. I mean, it was kind of scary to post online, to share something and think about the people that would disagree with me. It was scary to try to figure out the algorithm. It was scary to put my name out there. I didn't know really how to talk about what I've been through without naming names and mentioning my family. And I wanted to honor them and I wanted to keep them private. And so I did nothing. Instead, I actually did this a lot. I did this. Grandma, what's that? Let me tell you, this is called scrolling. It's called mindlessly scrolling. I got really good at this. Like, you should see my thumb muscle. It's so strong. Instead of pressing record and working on your message. I think you look back when you're 85 and you think, why didn't I do it? Like, why didn't I just get over myself and just start? So I got to tell you, getting started is like the hardest part. It's so hard. When you get started, no one cares. No one follows, no one subscribes, no one likes. A couple people do, but then they go away and you're like, oh, where'd they go? I thought they liked my stuff. And they only like the first couple things. And they're like, actually, this isn't really for me. You're competing with everybody. You're competing with the most famous people on the internet who are literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a video. And you're competing with them? Like, who are you to try to do that? And consistency, if you look at your day, I don't have time to edit. I don't have time to post. I'm just trying to make it through the day. I got taxes coming up. I had to go pick up the kids from soccer. I don't have time to record myself. And then what happens is a year goes by That conference you go to, you left that conference saying, this is the year I'm going to post on Instagram. And then another year goes by. And all of a sudden you find yourself at that conference again. And you're like, you know what? I didn't do it. I said I was going to do it, but I didn't do it. I didn't post like I said I was going to. This is the year I'm going to do it. 2020, blah, blah, blah. 2025, 6, 7, 8. Here we go. And before you know it, it's 2030. And before you know it, it just keeps going. Time just keeps going. So the only difference between making it happen, doing it, and not doing it is thinking about the long term. The long term. I taught this to our Hope Books authors yesterday. We have a weekly coaching call inside of Hope Books, and I usually lead that call. And I talked to them about tofu, mofu, and bofu, which is the top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. Tofu, mofu, and bofu. And I talked about how the bottom of funnel is like your living room. Imagine 5 of your clients, 5 of your readers coming to your house. You pouring them a cup of coffee, them sitting all around in your living room, on your couch, your love seat, your recliner, and you having a deep and intimate conversation. But it's reserved. It's reserved just for your ideal clients, just for the people who know you, just for the people who paid a lot to be part of your community. It's reserved for the most intimate of friends. And I said, the only way to get there is to create. The only way to get to the bottom of the funnel is for them to go through the middle of the funnel. The middle of the funnel content is the conversation. If the bottom of the funnel is the invitation, the middle of the funnel is the conversation. It's a regular conversation. It's what I do with these videos and these podcasts. They say that it takes 4.5 hours of content for somebody to make a decision. So I'm just creating a library of MoFu, a library of middle of funnel content that once you've discovered my stuff, you either go, he's for me, he's my guy, I want to know him, like him, trust him, or not my guy. Either way, it's cool, right? Myron Golden says, say yes, tell me yes or tell me no, but tell me now I got to go. And I'm like, I feel the same way. If you've watched some of my content, you've listened to some of my content, you've attended some of my live trainings, you either know that I'm your guy or I'm not, and I'm totally cool with me not being your guy. Kevin Kelly wrote an article years ago that people quote all the time called 1,000 True Fans. And that's my 10-year goal. My 10-year goal is to publish 1,000 books. 1,000 authors, each selling 1,000 copies of their book. That's 1 million books. And not 1,001 authors, just 1,000. So of the millions of people that could be watching this video or listening to this podcast or however you're consuming this, I'm only looking for 1,000 people. There's more than 1,000. I have passed more than 1,000 people driving to school and back and to work and back in one day. That's it. And that's just in my little town. So what I'm saying there is that you need to create conversational content, bingeable library content, the kind of content that when you are 85 years old and your great-grandchild discovers your content, they go, oh my goodness, great-grandma, this is amazing. I didn't know you did this. Actually, you know what? They're probably like living on the property that your content paid for. Let's be real. If you consistently create content every day from now until 85, you won't have to worry about money at all. That's the truth, right? Because you would have figured it out. You would have paid attention to the metrics. You would have shared your content consistently. You would have made adjustments to really serve people well. And over time, you would have figured out what they need and you would have provided it and you'd start to make some income. And that income would start to snowball into recurring income. And that recurring income would be enough to leave generational change, a generational legacy. And we're talking chain-breaking income, the kind of income that you're like, no way, that's not possible. Just do the math. Just do the math, right? What if you start creating content on a regular basis? And then at the end of your videos, you say, hey, if you want to learn more about my inspired mom community, just go to blah, blah, blah.com. And you're like, okay, that feels scary, but I could do that. And then you do it. And then you charge $15 a month, $30 a month. And then over time, that little community starts to grow and grow, and then they want more. And then they say, you know what, we'd love to get together. What if you had a conference? So now you find yourself having a conference for $100 and then eventually $200 and then eventually $300. Okay, we figured out membership. We figured out conference. You know what? The people that go to the conference, they actually want to go even deeper. So then you create a little coaching group, a little mastermind. You have to charge a few $1,000s for that. And all of a sudden you've got 8 people, 12 people in your mastermind. And then you're like, wait a second. I have my content. I have my community. I have my conference. And I have my inside group, my mastermind. And then you're like, okay, I've been doing this for a while now. I guess I got to write a book. So you have your book, you have your content, you have your book, you have your content, you have your conference, your community, your conference, your mastermind. And you're like, this feels like a life. This feels like you actually went for it. You actually went for it. You don't regret going for it. You regret not going for it. You don't regret creating something that people could love, especially if you've been working with them and they've been asking for it. And that's my favorite strategy for making anything is you just answer questions. You just answer questions. But the only way that you can answer questions is if you go knee to knee, eye to eye, shoulder to shoulder with people. The only way you can answer questions is if somebody's asking the question. So you need to create an environment where you're actually allowing people to ask you a question. That's where the content comes in. Because what you do is you start creating content for yourself, just to share your knowledge, to share your life experience. You start creating content just to say what you know. I help X overcome Y so they can Z. Here's what I've overcome. I've overcome this. I'm now living this. So let me tell you how to get from here to here. Let me tell you how to get from the prison to the promised land. Here's how to write a book. Here's how to find a publisher. Here's why working with Hope Books is better than working with traditional publishers. Here's why working with Hope Books is better than self-publishing. I work with Hope Books. I'm the owner of Hope Books and I'm a client of Hope Books. I publish my book with Hope Books. So I create content just sharing my journey. This is what I learned about book launches. This is what I learned about your XYZ statement. This is what I learned about marketing books. This is what I learned about writing only 1 book at a time instead of 12 books at a time. I've learned this, so I'm creating my content. And then what happens is as I put my content out there, even if one person watches it, even if just a couple dozen people end up watching it, even a couple hundred people end up watching it, first of all, that's a lot of people. It's a lot of, try putting them in the car, right? I could probably fit, if like we're escaping Jurassic Park, I could probably fit 7 adults in this car, 7. And my average views are a couple hundred. That's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Are you kidding me? I'm just talking to you right now. But to know that there's 8 of you, or there's 80 of you, or there's 800 or 8,000 or 80,000 or 800,000 or one day 8 million of you, that's crazy. But I would do it for just you, not just you, for you. So if I create content consistently, I'm going to start getting questions. What about this? What do you think about this? Could you do something on this? And then I go, oh, great. I'm here to answer your questions. Yes, I will answer your question. I will create content answering a question. And what I'm doing is I'm creating MoFu content, middle of funnel library content, bingeable 4.5 hours of content. And then from there, then I start posting top of funnel content. Now, top of funnel content is going to be a little bit more of, hey, if you've ever thought about this, you got to try this. Or did you see what's going on? Like it's a little bit more thumb stopping content. This isn't thumb stopping content. This is my thumb was stopped. I want to learn more about this guy. And then I subscribed to the podcast. Or my thumb was stopped. And then I clicked on a video and it led to this video. So I know that this is probably not the first video of mine you're watching. This is probably the 9th video of mine you're watching. And you're more likely to watch video 10 and video 11 and video 12. And over time, you'll say, that's my guy. When it comes to book writing and publishing and launching, I trust Brian Dixon. Why? Because I know him, because I've listened to him, because I've watched him for so long. Think about somebody in your life, right? You're like, of course I love Beth Moore. Of course I love Ann Boskamp. Of course I love John Eldridge. Why? Because I know them. Like I've read their books. I've listened to their podcasts. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos that they've done interviews on. I saw one of them at a conference once. It was amazing. I actually got to meet one of them. How crazy is that? Yeah, they come out with another book. I'm going to want to buy that book. They come out with a course. I'm going to think about signing up for that course. Why? Know and trust. I know them, like them, and trust them. So what would your life be like when you're 80? a great book by Jeff Olson called The Slight Edge. This is what we're talking about here. You're 45 now, or 35 or 55 or 65, whatever you are right now. Here you are. And you decide to consistently create content, and over time it grows. Over time, what you're offering grows. Over time, you go from 1 viewer to 10 viewers to 100 viewers to 1,000 viewers to 10,000 viewers to all of a sudden I have 100,000 subscribers. Oh my goodness. Might have taken 10 years. Might have taken 20. It takes what it takes. It doesn't matter. Might have taken a month. Who knows? Maybe you had a post that was crazy. It's not up to you. Your job is to scatter the seed over time. So you have your life of creating content and sharing value and building your Mofu library, or you have your life of, I'm not going to do it. You know what? I'm not going to do it actually. Instead of not doing it, I'm actually going to feel bad about not doing it. Instead of not doing it, I'm going to have this guilt and the shame about not doing it. And I just want to tell you, listen, if you're not going to do it, just don't do it. Just quit it. Go do something else. Life is so short. Go quilt. Go do something that you love. Go help people. Go do a nonprofit. Go volunteer. If you're actually not going to write your book, then just don't write your book. Don't write your book. Okay, here's one exercise. This exercise can change your life right now. Okay? I want you to imagine that someone heard about the book that you want to write one day. Okay? They heard about the book you want to write one day. Somehow they were able to read your diary, talk to your best friend, go inside your brain, and they heard about the book you want to write one day. And they said, I don't want her to write that book because I'm going to write a book just like it. I don't want any competition. So they say, here's the deal. I'm going to pay you $10,000 to never write again. I'm going to pay you $10,000 to never publish your book. Would you take that money? You would sign on the dotted line. You'd say, I guarantee I will never come out with a book my entire life. Would you take that money? I think you're saying, hell no. I think you're saying, no way. No way. I would rip up that check. I would laugh in their face. I would walk away. Here's the thing. If your book is worth $10,000, why aren't you investing $10,000 into your book? If your book is worth $10,000, then why aren't you putting $10,000 into actually getting your book done? If your book is worth it, why aren't you working it? Okay, maybe it's not 10,000, maybe it's 50,000. What's the number? What's the number? If somebody wrote you a check right now and said, listen, I see your journey. I know the kind of content you're going to write, and I just want to make sure there's no competition here at all. And so I'm willing to cut you a check for $100,000 for you to never post on Facebook, for you to never share an email blast to your audience, for you to never go on a podcast, for you to quit this whole thing. I would pay you $100,000 for silence, to never publish your book, never publish any books your whole life. 100,000. Would you take it? Because you say it's about money, right? You're like, it's about money. Okay, so here you go. Here's the money. If it's about money, here's the money. Here's $100,000 to never write your book, never make your podcast, never go on social media and talk about your message, never speak on a stage, never appear on somebody else's podcast, never send an email blast. Would you take it? Would you take the money? Probably not, right? Absolutely not. If absolutely not, then why aren't you investing in yourself? Why aren't you investing in yourself? My encouragement to you is start building your library. I want you to think about when you're 85 years old. When you're 85 years old and you can barely hit record anymore. And then your great-granddaughter finds your content and she's, I want to learn more about my great-grandma. And she starts watching your videos. She starts listening to your podcasts. She reads a few of your books and her life has changed. Your family legacy continues on. How cool would that be? Not even in the future, but even in the now, right now. And imagine right now that the content that you share can help just one person move forward. Hope that encourages you today.